Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. Thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with us. It's amazing to hear we have people from all over the world. We got Europe here tonight, a lot of alumni here, so it's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here in front of you guys tonight. It's been overall a fantastic journey for us to be here at iHouse. I had the opportunity to, as we were starting up the program with Larry and getting dining service back to the students that are still here on campus. Unfortunately, it's not that lively campus that it has been in the past currently, right? We are all aware of the situation that we're in, but it's our privilege to serve the students that are here. So thank you very much for that. When we were beginning the journey of coming here to iHouse, I had the chance to learn a lot more about what it is that iHouse does. And I think that one of the things that has stuck with me about your mission is on your website. It says to foster cross-cultural understanding. And I can't think of a more relevant time for that phrase than now. I think that if that has been the mission of iHouse for a long time, that is a mission that I think we try to do with our food. I think it's a mission that we need to somehow expand to the rest of the city, to the rest of the state, to the rest of the country. And I think that with that understanding comes appreciation, and it comes love, you know what I mean? And very much for me with food comes love as well. So thank you guys for what it is that you do, and happy to be here making cauliflower shawarma. I guess there's a couple of steps we should start with. I think everybody, I'm imagining in France, you didn't get one of our kits, but those of you who are here and nearby should have received a kit for making a cauliflower shawarma tonight. In that kit, you will have a piece of 12-inch round pita bread. This is a pita bread very much in the Lebanese style. So it's very thin as opposed to other pita breads of the region where you'll have something a little bit fluffier, a little bit more filling. I use this pita bread because I'm not anti-carb by any way, shape, or form. But I find that for the sandwich purpose, the wrap purpose that we're going to be making with this, it suits it just fine. And even since it is a flat pita, I like to split it. So if you guys even have that there, and if you want to follow along with this, I like to split the pita. I get 2 sandwiches out of 1. And I find it to be more than enough bread for a sandwich for myself. Before we go any further, I forgot to introduce, I have with me here Charlie and I have Erica from our team at the Migrant Kitchen. So they're going to be reading out your any questions that you have. I have no problem if you guys just want to unmute yourself and throw a question out there. We can deal with it that way as well. Trying to keep it as informal and as fun as possible, and hopefully end up with a tasty meal by the end of it. So, Charlie, Erica, let me know if you guys have anything on the chat that we should be talking about. All right.
Will do, Dan. We got folks from India in the house, or a current resident from India.
All right.
Residents from Los Angeles. Larry, the vice president of facilities, is here. So everyone from across the board is super stoked.
All right. So what I'm going to do with this flat piece of pita here, I think you guys in the dorms, I'm not positive, all have access to a burner of some sort, and just going to give it a light toast. There's really, if you have an open burner, if you have a grill, whatever it is that you have, even on a flat top and on an induction burner in a pan, I just like to warm it through. It makes it a little bit more malleable, a little bit easier to work with. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that, please, by all means, feel free. We are going to start after a nice little toast on that guy. I don't know where they found this ginormous head of cauliflower. It's about the size of my head. It really, it's interesting. I don't see them this big very often, guys. But what you guys should have is a whole bunch of cauliflower florets already packaged up, already sent to you. So you guys do not have to go through this portion of the cooking process. But what I like to do is I like to break off these little pieces of cauliflower. A lot of times I'll just use my hands because they'll fall off pretty easily. And I'll get a big floret like that. And from there, we'll go ahead and cut it down. I know a lot of people don't like to use the white stemmy part of it. I find it just to be just as delicious, just as flavorful as any other part of the cauliflower. So I make sure I use those little bits and pieces as well. And so we end up breaking down the entire cauliflower into little bite-sized chunks like this that will fit into our wrap just perfectly. That's a big head of cauliflower. I'm just going to put that to the side since I already have the other version. The cauliflower that you guys have in your little containers, they should be blanched, so they're nice and tender. They're not raw. What we do is we just bring some water to boil, dump them in for about anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds just to get that rawness out of them, so that when we cook them in our pan, we don't have to worry about cooking them all the way through. We already went ahead and we got it nice and tender all the way through, so it makes it a little bit easier, a little bit quicker to cook in the pan. A lot of times we would roast this in the oven if we do big batches. And just make it a small one at home, I would just use a pan anyhow. So once again, I'm going to turn my burner back on. I'm going to give my pan a little bit of a chance to warm up. In the meantime, I'm going to take my cauliflower, I'm going to put it into a bowl. And in this bowl, I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Actually, no pepper, just salt. I'm just getting into the habit of saying salt and pepper. It's just so easy. But here I'll stick to just salt. I know we call it a cauliflower shawarma dish. We're definitely taking some liberties with the term shawarma. We are not adding any of the traditional shawarma spices. You would have, everybody has their own special blend of shawarma spice. We would use ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, cardamom. But here in this case, we're just going to go ahead and use a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, and I'm going to add a little bit of freshness to it with some lemon juice. Traditionally, when you make shawarma, you would marinate traditionally beef, chicken, lamb in these spices that we just talked about, and vinegar. And the vinegar would help break down the meat, tenderize the meat. It would add a little bit of freshness and acidity to it before it would be assembled on the big spit. I think everybody's seen those big spits before. And a little bit of what it is that we try to do at the Migrant Kitchen is take the cuisine native to the region of the Middle East and identify a lot of spices and technique of South America or Latin America and try to combine those flavors. And I think shawarma is one of those dishes that definitely translate in that respect, as you would find a shawarma spit in the Middle East, and Lebanese and Iraqi immigrants have brought that to Mexico, and in areas of Mexico, you find what is called tacos árabes. Tacos árabes is just a reinterpretation of a shawarma, travels from one part of the world to another, and instead of using a pita bread, we use a tortilla in Mexico. My parents are both from Mexico, and my partner is from Palestine, so hence our Arab-Latin fusion. That's definitely where we got the idea from and the inspiration.
And Dante Wu wants to know what's in the pots. I don't think anything.
Which pot?
Right? Which pot, Dante? The one on the stove?
Currently nothing in the pan just yet.
All right.
So what we're gonna do with the pan, now that I got it nice and toasty, I'm gonna add a little bit of oil in there. When I cook, I don't like to use olive oil for cooking. I like to use more of a neutral oil, so we tend to use the canola oil, sometimes the vegetable oil, depending on the application. And with a commercial stove like this, I probably get a lot hotter than you guys are getting at home. So when I add this to the pan, there's definitely going to be a bit of a sizzle.
And in the mixing pot there, you got cauliflower.
I got cauliflower, salt, and oil.
Salt and oil.
And then I added a squeeze of lemon juice at the end. My goal here, guys, is just to get it nice and crispy and golden brown on the outside, keeping in mind that we already blanched it, so it's already cooked all the way through. It's nice and tender all the way through. And when I do this at home, whenever I cook at home and I end up getting my pots and pans really, really hot, I tend to set off the smoke alarm a lot at home. Then we just air the place out and we get back to business. But it makes it so much easier to be in a nice commercial space like this. And my wife doesn't have to yell at me for smoking up the apartment, you know? But for me at home, it's a fair trade-off. I get to cook the food. My wife gets to enjoy the food. We try to keep her away from the kitchen. It just doesn't really work out sometimes, but, you know, I can say that because she's not here right now. I'm going to move this around a little bit. Let it get a nice sear on it.
Cauliflower in the kit, that doesn't need to be boiled first, does it?
What's that? No, the cauliflower in the kit is already boiled. Ready to go for you guys. No need to boil it again. All we're trying to do when we boil the cauliflower is advance the cooking process a little bit so that we're ready to go when it's time to cook it. All right. And as this is cooking off to the side, you guys will notice that in your kit, you also have a couple of different ramekins of sauce. One of them is a tahini sauce, very pale, ivory colored, and then we have some hummus in a different ramekin for you guys as well. And we're going to be using that to assemble our wrap. We will go through the process of actually making it here for you so you guys get an idea of what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on low in the back while we turn our attention to the sauce.
Dan, before we do that, for our friends, our alumni friends who are joining us from afar that didn't get kits, let's say they're following along and want to do this later on, how would they prepare the cauliflower in advance?
I would definitely recommend cutting the cauliflower into little florets, guys. Right? They fall apart so easily once you get that main core out of there. They fall apart pretty tender. I would put them into some water, bring them to a boil, let them boil until they're tender enough to just pierce with a fork. Right? Once you can get that fork through the stem, ready to go, drain them, set them to the side, and ready to sear on the stove top whenever you guys are ready. Traditionally, tahini found in many, many dishes in the Middle East. I love it. Tahini in and of itself is just a paste of ground hulled sesame, right? So when you find tahini in the store, there's two ways to find it. You can find tahini that is just a paste. You can see here, it's very reminiscent of a raw peanut butter. This is not the tahini sauce yet. We have to take this, and we're going to take this and turn it into our sauce. Sometimes you're able to find the sauce already made. Makes it much simpler. No need to fight it. Find a great branded tahini sauce, then stick with it, love it forever, so you don't have to go through the process at home. Toss my cauliflower a little bit, let it move around there. I'm going to bring this over here so that we can make our tahini sauce, guys. So your sauce is already made, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through the process of what we would do on this end if we're actually making the tahini sauce. So I got my tahini paste. And in order to make this tahini paste, I'll take a boatload of sesame seeds, soak them in some water. And what you want to do when you soak them in water is they crush them so we can separate the hull from the actual seed on the inside. The shells are discarded, and it's that inside seed of the sesame that gets ground into this paste. Many different brands, many different qualities, I know plenty of people that swear by their brand of tahini that they've used for years. Very regional in many respects. So what I got here is about a cup of tahini. To that cup of tahini, I'm going to add about a quarter cup of ice. I want to use not just water, I want to use ice because I want it to be super, super cold. And I don't want the spinning of the blade to heat anything up for us. And then I'm going to add another quarter cup of water to that. And we're just going to buzz away right now. Keep it buzzing away until I hear that there's no ice left, that all the ice has been incorporated into a liquid form again. So we got a little bit of ways to go here. Give it a touch of water. I want it a little bit looser. It's a little too thick for my liking at the moment.
Thomas wants to know, how long have you been a chef?
Very long time, Thomas. I started cooking, I was cooking when I came to New York, and that was over 20 years ago now. So I've been cooking for quite some time. I started cooking, I'm originally from Los Angeles, born and raised in LA. My grandmother had a little stall out in East LA at the Lorena Marketplace many years ago. And she would sell all sorts of traditional Mexican fare, a lot of tamales. Tamales was a big deal in our family growing up, especially around Christmas time. And it's just something that has stuck with me for quite some time. And little by little, you get to learn more, you get to appreciate more, you get to expand your repertoire, you get to learn about other cultures, other cuisines. And I think that has been the most fantastic part of the entire journey for me, is getting to learn people through their food. In New York City, many of the restaurants that I've worked in, I've come to call the mini UNs, right? Because we have people in kitchens in New York City from all over the world. And to get the opportunity to taste their food, have them make their food, even though the restaurant may be a Lebanese restaurant, maybe a Mexican restaurant, maybe an Italian restaurant, everybody in that kitchen represents the entire globe. It's really an amazing thing to see. And little by little, you get to learn a little bit more about everybody's culture, everybody's identity. Food really speaks to who people really are deep down inside, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So, to this now very delicious tahini sauce, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to it. I'm going to do the juice of one lemon. I want to make it tangy. I really like a citrusy, acidic tahini sauce. But for this application, I'm going to back it down a little bit, because we also have a sauce on the side here that is just as rich and acidic and bright, and it really has those notes to it that I don't need a tahini sauce that is that acidic. So this is actually a decent amount of juice out of just a half a lemon. I'm going to give that a shot.
And we got a follow-up from Chase. How did you come up with the name, the Migrant Kitchen?
That would be me and my partner, Nasser. How do we come up with the name of the Migrant Kitchen? I think it was, it's over 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now. We were trying to come up with a concept that we could roll out in New York City to showcase the cuisines of the world. And it really was the one option that stuck with us. I think it made perfect sense. We were a small catering company at the time. So the inside running joke amongst all of us was always, the Migrant Kitchen is migrating yet again. We would feature the cuisines of different immigrants from different places of the globe that come to make New York City their home. I mean, it's for me, it's the only place I want to be, and I can. Our work throughout COVID, our work throughout the past 8-9 months, almost a year now, really has only reinforced how global New York City really is. That, in my mind, in my view, in my humble opinion, it is such a integral part that makes New York what it is. I couldn't imagine it any other way. With tahini sauce, it needs salt. So let's add a little salt here. Make sure you guys are tasting at home. Everybody tastes salt differently. Some people like a heavier salt, lighter salt, whatever your preference is. The goal, you want to get that nuttiness, you want to get a little bit of that acid, and you need the right amount of salt. The 3 components you need for your tahini sauce. If you guys want, I'd be more than happy to follow up with some detailed recipes. But honestly, it's Friday night cooking. Whatever you have at home, whatever you like, whatever tastes good to you, that's what we're here to do, right? it's only food. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. I know some people really adamant about following recipes every single time. It kind of takes the fun out of a Friday night cooking. You know what I mean? You want to come home, cook whatever is around, whatever is available, and not take yourself too seriously when you cook. This is just, it's a very simple cauliflower shawarma dish. And I think I'm kind of happy with that one. All right. I'm going to put that in here. All right. I'll leave my tahini right there. And I'm going to show you guys my cauliflower. All right. So my cauliflower is nice and golden brown now on the outside. We know it's cooked all the way through because we've already blanched it. We've already part cooked it that way. We just want to make sure that we're checking our seasonings. Once again, to your liking. Nobody's going to hold your feet to the fire here. Just make sure you're tasting it all the way through. You want to taste every component, so when you put that dish together at the very end, you know you're getting what you paid for. All right. I'm happy with that one, Charlie.
Smells great.
Yeah, it's a shame you guys can't smell it here, but you guys should be able to smell your own back there, right? But we're doing okay.
Anita doing some tasting on her end.
How's it tasting, guys? How's it tasting over there? I hope you guys are able to follow along very well and having a good time doing it. I hope there's a glass of wine in your hand. I hope there's a beer in your hand. It's Friday night, and like we were talking about earlier, Friday night during COVID, where else better to be than at home making a nice meal with a glass of wine, right? So,
Wet Root's feeling it.
We got our tahini. You guys also have some of the hummus that we like to make. People get very possessive about their hummus in much the same way they get possessive about their tahini. I've come to find. I like hummus to be very simple is not the right word because it really is a complex amount of flavors. But I like to keep the ingredients to a minimum. We have the garbanzo beans, the chickpeas, a good quality extra virgin olive oil, some lemon juice, and some tahini. That's it. 4 ingredients makes the best hummus out there. I've had plenty of arguments when people are telling me, well, you don't have garlic in your hummus. You're not putting cumin in your hummus. I like to keep it plain. I like to keep it simple, but to each their own. Once again, if you want to add a little cumin, add a little garlic, whatever makes you feel good on a Friday night, guys. That's what we're here for.
All right. Vicky wants to know, how did you decide to use cauliflower?
I think cauliflower you can find almost everywhere now. We decided to go with cauliflower. I've seen plenty of cauliflower steaks out there these days. I think cauliflower is I think there's a lot of more interesting vegetables out there, for sure. There's a lot of interesting vegetables that I appreciate a lot more than I appreciate cauliflower. I think in this dish, cauliflower is almost a vessel for all the other flavors that we have here. It is very neutral to me, but I think it's something that is appealing to the masses. I think a lot of people really do enjoy cauliflower, and if prepared well, can execute an amazing dish. So we have our hummus that I just smeared on the bottom of this guy here. You guys should also have a whole bunch of lettuce that has been chopped up for you. Pretty simple, pretty standard, pretty straightforward. I like to use either a romaine, a crisp romaine, a crisp iceberg. If you have mesclun, use mesclun. If you have, whatever is available, whatever you have, it's going to make a great wrap. Not a problem whatsoever. And to this, I'm going to take a little bit of that lettuce. Just lay it right on top of that hummus right there. I'm going to follow that up with some pieces of the cauliflower. So as we were preparing for this this little segment with you guys, Charlie filled me in on the fact that I'm following in Wiley Dufresne's shoes here. A fantastic chef. I believe he did a roasted duck dish with some foie gras before. Charlie was showing me a couple of the previous ones. I don't know if he was the most recent. But big shoes to fill for me, that's for sure, guys. He's definitely one of the people I've looked up to in the restaurant world here in New York City. So it's nice to be able to follow him.
Ariane Dugan did a duck with the truffle sauce.
Ah, okay, there you go. All right. On top of that cauliflower, guys, I'm going to just go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of my pomegranate seeds. And this is where the wrap should take on its own life. It should take on whatever it is that you want to do with it. We did include the very herbaceous sauce here for you guys. I'm going to taste that. We got some shallots. This is where it's got just such a bright flavor to it. I'm going to take that, layer that right on top as well. We've got some pops of flavor in there. All right. And then obviously our fantastic tahini sauce. Where are we going to go without that, Charlie?
Oh, you got to have the tahini.
Charlie's very quiet tonight, guys. If you ever do get a chance to see him over here at iHouse, he's not usually that quiet.
I'm just following along. I'm trying to learn how to make cauliflower shawarma myself. I'm not as talented as a chef as our good buddy Dan Dorado here.
All right.
We got another question from the audience about the herb sauce. Anita wants to know what's in the herb sauce.
All right. So in there I have a combination of cilantro, parsley, some shallots, some oil, and some lime juice that gives it the brightness in there. So it's definitely that lime that comes through. And once again, it's compensating for a little bit of the acid that we don't have in our tahini sauce. And then at this point, this is where you have fun with it. Put in pickles, pickled onions, put in some feta cheese, put in whatever it is that you love, whatever it is that you like. This is the point where you get to put that in. Personally, I think that I would put some feta cheese into here. We leave it without feta cheese when we do it because it's just a great non-dairy option to have this dish like that. We find that the creaminess of the hummus and the creaminess of that tahini sauce kind of makes up for it a little bit. You know, you get a nice substitute for that. I like to take it and just fold one bottom of it. And here I didn't bring a plate there, Charlie.
Let's go grab you one.
Yeah, you got a plate over there, Charlie? All right. Charlie's running as fast as he can right now.
Galloping.
Yes, I think we should get him some more exercise, you know?
Okay, well,
All right. Technical plate difficulties, guys, but we're coming through. We're coming through. Erica, you want to pop your head in there and grab a plate? I think Charlie's going to be hard pressed to find one back there. There we go. Perfect. We'll let him rummage around for a little bit. So then I like to take that wrap. We'll leave it off to the side like that. Obviously, if this was in a restaurant environment or somewhere else, we would definitely top it off with some more pomegranate seeds in there just to make it look as pretty as we possibly can. Get the presentation to where we want it to be. And lean it over on its side like that. And that's going to be our cauliflower wrap for tonight, guys. Pretty simple, straightforward, standard dish. Get the chance to play around with it. Add what you like to it. It doesn't need to follow any specific recipe. It is a vessel for what it is that you like and what you guys enjoy doing. So we can put this to the side now. I think Charlie is going to keep reading off some questions, and I would love to continue the conversation with you guys as you guys finish up your wrap. Let us know how it's coming along. Let us know how the flavors are working out for you guys. Those of you who are residents here, those of you who are still around, do come see us. We're here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Your feedback is important to us. This is something that we hope we are providing you what it is that you want at the end of the day. Otherwise, it's a loss for us. So we're definitely happy to be here and take your feedback and let us know. I try to make it out to that dining room as often as I can as you guys come in and pick up to say hi, meet some of the faces, and get to know you guys that are here. We have a great team that works here. Hope you guys get to know them as well because they love being here, and it's been an honor. Any questions, guys? I mean, what are we thinking about? How did your tahini sauce taste to you? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you find it too tangy? When it comes to food, guys, there's no wrong answers. Yeah.
We're just getting a lot of very yummies, very tasties, deliciouses all around. Sumya said she added a few extra spices.
Yeah, there you go. That's turning into a true shawarma there. I think that if we actually had a shawarma spit, what I like to do with the cauliflower is I like to take the cauliflower, cut it into as many whole disc shapes as we possibly can. We go ahead and we marinate that in shawarma spice. We marinate that in some lemon juice, marinate that in a little bit of vinegar, some onions, some garlic. And we can actually take that and build a spit with it. And then slowly roast it around a spit as if you would do any other traditional shawarma dish.
All right, we got another question from the audience. For store-bought sesame tahini, do you usually have to add lemon juice?
So yes, if you're buying just the paste, sometimes it can be confusing when you're buying tahini. You don't know if you're buying the paste. You don't know if you're buying the, I think I used up most of mine. Hold on. When you buy the paste, it's very much a very thick, it has such a high fat content that a lot of the solids will settle to the bottom and the oil will float on top. And yes, I definitely recommend adding the lemon juice and the water and the salt to cut that flavor. Otherwise, it is very overpowering just on its own. However, it's still possible to buy just the tahini sauce as well. The tahini sauce can be purchased already prepared for you as well. So it depends, what your preference is. Obviously, I think here we definitely have our preference to making our own tahini. Put it in a blender. Spin it around. It's a very simple, delicious, delicate sauce.
All right. Chase says this was a great experience and their dish tasted great. He had his sister helping him.
All right.
Definitely be making it again. Yeah.
Fantastic, guys.
A lot of praise, and we are equally as grateful for everyone at iHouse for tuning in tonight. Any final thoughts, Executive Chef Dan?
Well, those of you who are here, I do hope to get to meet you guys in person someday.
Bon appetit.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit, guys. Bon appetit. I hope you guys really enjoyed. It's great to be a part of everything here. It's great to be a part of your mission. So thank you very much for allowing us a sliver of a time to hang out with you guys on a Friday night. Next time, I'm gonna request that Charlie have a glass of wine here for me as well, because I feel like I'm being left out right now, Charlie.
Oh yeah, let's have to do some cocktail making courses next time.
Yes, there we go. Next time we have to have a wine class. That's what we need to have. That would be amazing. Why not? I'm all for that.
Too many regions from across the world, people from Italy and France.
We can start our own like little wine wars or something. You know what I mean? Somebody can recommend a bottle. We can all taste along with that. We can make a dish to go with it. That would be amazing. All right.
But before we sign off, we have one person asking to hear just a little bit more about the Migrant Kitchen, our mission, and kind of how the food intersects with the community.
So I thank you so much, guys. And we were definitely focused on the food tonight. I didn't want to get too caught up into what it is that we do outside, because I wanted you guys to make sure you enjoyed the meal. But what we do at the Migrant Kitchen, and the Migrant Kitchen started off for me and my partner, Nas Job. Once again, trying to not just showcase the food of the world, but to offer the people whose food was being showcased the opportunity to work alongside some professional chefs, get some culinary training, expand their horizons, and possibly build their own business as well. So we started that about a year and a half ago. We were doing fairly well, catering some events and corporate lunches, a lot of things. It's New York City. In the food world, there's a million things to do. So we knew we could find something to do and find our niche. Unfortunately, March 13th, March 16th, somewhere around there, New York went on pause. My wife gave birth to my baby girl 2 weeks before we went on pause. So I was so preoccupied with that and dealing with that when New York went on pause, I was almost blindsided. I was not paying attention to the news. I was not paying attention to what was going on. COVID at that moment in the world to me was something that was happening at a nursing home in Seattle. I think that's where it kind of started sticking in my head as to what was going on. And so once we had reached March with our business and we had a good amount of food left in the fridges, we decided it was time to do something that a lot of people that I had worked with personally over the past 20 years and here in New York City, who I've remained very close with, were calling me looking for work because their restaurants had shut down. Their kitchens were closed. They had no way to pay their bills, pay their rent, support their family at home, because a lot of these people were people that did not have the social safety net of unemployment. All right, this is where the food pantries in Queens, the lines ran for blocks. So Nasser and I turned to ourselves. Nasser, being from Palestine, he's worked in the gastro-diplomacy sector for the past few years. I think he really understood what was going to happen more so than I did. And he's the impetus for us to figure out a way to feed as many people as we could. So we were getting some calls from colleagues that were working at hospitals that had no food options because it was completely shut down. The places they were going for lunch down the street, shut down. Cafeteria workers weren't coming to work at the hospitals, shut down. So we started donating food as much as we could to a lot of the frontline workers. I remember vividly the first time that we went to deliver food at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens. It's a sight that I didn't think we would ever see here in New York City. It reminded me of things that I thought would only happen in other countries and not in New York. And here we were in the middle of it, and then we had to figure out what it was that we could do, and what we could do was serve food. So we called as many people as we could. We tried to get as many of our friends and colleagues in the industry to reactivate as many kitchens as possible, knowing full well nobody was going to get paid. We needed to figure out a way that we could feed people. We needed to figure out a way that we could raise as much money as possible. We were able to partner with a few organizations that realized what it is that we were doing. Donations started coming in through a GoFundMe. I think that it was such a mess that was happening in New York City that everybody was so blindsided. I think a lot of people were just paralyzed. They didn't know what to do. And I don't know how many of you were here at that time, but it was definitely eerie to drive around New York City delivering these meals in a ghost town. It was a complete ghost town. My wife and my family had been fortunate enough that we were able to send them out to grandma's house. I can't tell you how scary it was with a newborn baby girl. And, you know, COVID around, I'm in and out of hospitals delivering food with Nasser. We just didn't want to risk that and have to deal with that as well. So, and from there, it's something that expanded. It's a mission that we wanted to continue doing. It's a mission that we were able to do. And since we had the ability to do it, it was definitely incumbent upon us to do it. We couldn't just sit on the sidelines and not do it. And I don't really think it was anything above and beyond. It was definitely something that just had to be done. So here we now find ourselves at iHouse. I know that at the beginning of these discussions, it was very much, our mission was very aligned with the mission of iHouse. And I really, really appreciate that we were able to meet you guys. I think Larry and Vincent at iHouse got us situated and settled in here. So it's fantastic for us as an organization to be able to partner with an organization such as yourselves and to continue expanding the mission of embracing cultures from all around the world.
Well said, sir. Well said. We have someone that actually said, and I quote, "Beautiful example of collaboration. Thank you so much. Very inspiring. We're glad you are here partnering with iHouse. We have both Larry and Vincent, who you mentioned on the call with us tonight. And yeah, I will add, for those of you that aren't at iHouse, we also do have a little pop-up at downtown Manhattan.
Make your way down to Stone Street if you guys ever have the opportunity. We have a pop-up. We're trying to do a lot of delivery and whatnot. We still continue the mission of buy a meal, give a meal. Our mission is going to continue in one way, shape, or form or another. The issue of food insecurity is not going to go away. And I don't expect anybody to turn as much of a blind eye to it as it has been in the past. So it's our goal to continue to do as much as we possibly can. And like I tell everybody involved with our little company, our little project here, as long as we continue to do what's right, we'll always be okay, right? Let's make sure that we're doing what's right first, and everything else will follow after that. So thank you guys very much for allowing us a chance to do that.
Thank you very much. And we do have someone is asking, Anita, we do have a nonprofit portion of our organization. Yes, we do accept donations. I can follow up with all that information. I can give it to Siasa to send out for everyone, whether you're looking to buy food, learn more about the organization, or donate and volunteer. We'll make sure you guys have all that information for sure.
And those of you who had the opportunity, please do stop by and say hi to us. You know, we will be more than happy to chat with you guys when we're out there. Larry, great to see you on a Friday evening. Thank you so much for this.
Great job, Charlie. Great job. We're excited about the partnership. It's been an incredible start. I think it's getting better week by week. Excited about new menu coming up next week for everybody. A couple new items added to the menu. So, stay tuned and enjoy. Try everything because it's all good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure.
And this was a good event. Thank you for this event. It was
That's
very
my
nice.
wife, Lisa. Yes.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great Friday evening.
Thank you so much, Charlie.
Take care.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Take care. Enjoy your meal.
That's all.